shared space here on YouTube called Natural Connection with a Shaman. I'm your host, Shaman Odin Greywolf, and I'm here live with our friend and co host, Jamie Jette. Today, we're going to talk about the shadow and what it is and what to do with it. So, before we get any further, I'm going to hand it over to Jamie to introduce herself, and then we'll start our topic. All right, Jamie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Jette. I'm here up at Shangri-La in Hollywood, and where we host a lot of different events. Stargate Sound Medicine, which is our sound bath, but I don't like that term. But we do ceremonial cacao and sound frequency to align yourself and unplug or unblock something that might be there. I also hold it's a semi-grieving silent space holding on Mondays at the Center for Spiritual Living on Rancho. It's called Life Reflection Cafe. And whether you've lost a job or you're sad about an animal that you've lost or the death of a beloved. One gentleman came, he's really sad for the country, so we just hold space for him. And so, anyway, we got a lot going on, lots going on here. So,
It's interesting you mentioned that too about the Life Reflections Cafe, how you're holding space. Because a lot of times when I hear people talk about the shadow, they treat it as if it's something very negative or doesn't exist. And it could be something very simple like, oh, I lost my job and this feels low. And it's just an energy that doesn't make you feel your best and brightest, and it's in the back of your mind all the time. Could be the passed on loved one still, holding on to your heart. And these are why we try to work on integrating them. Healing and integrating is just kind of accepting things as they are, not trying to change ourselves. But yeah, that was interesting you brought that up.
yeah, it's good. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Of
I look
course. Thank you for coming.
So shadow work. Wow. I got to thinking because that little childlike mind of mine. I was like, well, you could play with your shadow, you know what I mean? When you're in the sunshine and the sun or the emulation is and you see your shadow. I kind of because this is I guess I just like to play with the shadow just for fun. But then the fact that it is a lot of deep wounded healing as well
Yeah.
to fix all that. So thanks for thinking of the idea. It did open some doors for me. So what have you got in mind to share with us about practice?
Well, before we do that, I want to tell you one thing. When you're playing with your shadow, right? That means that the light is on your back, right? So what's the one thing that's blocking the light from your shadow? The self. It's
Pretty.
it's a little joke that I'd like to talk about. It's the self. We are always in the way from illuminating our shadow. It's always there, and it just like your shadow here in life is always going to be a part of you. So too will shadow energies in your life. It's just something that you got to come to acceptance with. Like work through some of the really bad ones. Like some some shadows go unnoticed because they come off as like ego, like control or intolerance or judgment, feeling better than others, right? Some shadows aren't really like, oh, we hear all the negative demon and demonology type terms about a shadow. Some of them aren't really that simple. They hide in the light, because where does a shadow come from? Where the light is shining, right? So it's anything that we are ashamed of, deny about ourselves, or are embarrassed of. It could be hidden secrets. It's little energies that hold you into not being 100% open. And not like you should have to feel like you need to be 100% open with everyone in the world. That is also a shadow too. Radical open honesty is not really healthy. So some of the terms that we do is like, you can journaling, of course, right? Journaling's the number one practice for working with the shadow. You just journal unconscious things, write randomly when you have time. I like to do mine in the morning, and then you go over it every couple weeks. I like to do one lunar cycle. Then after one lunar cycle, I kind of go back over the 4 weeks and see what I went through, what challenges I faced, how I overcame them. Did I even realize that there was a challenge underlined in my life? And that's one of my favorite processes. What about you, Jamie?
Well, um, I didn't quite understand what the trigger, what the shadow was, until recently, because I keep saying this week after week. These bodies of ours are amazing. Their universe is within the skin.
Yes.
But it's interesting how little things will come up, and it is almost like it's a shadow. And I was like, wow, where did that feeling come from? Why am I why am I feeling this? Because all of a sudden I didn't realize, but it is a trigger. And I'm like, well, wow, why is this? I get it's almost like a resentment. I get a little resentment. So I kind of dove down and realized it comes from when I was little. I am the big sister. I always had to take care of my brothers. My nickname was Little Mama because I just took care of them. But because my mom, she was going through her own mental things, and I didn't know it at the time. You just do it. But now little things come up. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why am I always the one who has to do it? Why isn't somebody doing something for me? And that little shadow just comes. Boop, and I was telling somebody it was when I was making hamburger, and I'm like, why are you here right now?
Right.
So it's interesting how shadows, just pop up when you least expect it, for myself anyway. And maybe because I'm now open to the idea of growing a little more in my spiritual existence, and learning all the different labels that we have. Because you know how I already feel when you go to the other side, none of this stuff matters anyway. It
No,
doesn't, just pure love is what exists.
because
But
the self is out of the way from the light to your shadow. Once you have no body, you're out of the way.
so it's kind of interesting, and I will lean into it. I won't pitch my tent there. And so I ask myself, "Ooh, Jamie, why are you having?" Let's go back to where this first came. Where was this resentment? And that's where I was able to figure it out, is being just little and always the responsible one, always the overdoer, always taking the heat, from my brothers. Yeah, so that was just one little shadow. So this is a lot of fun. I can see why people do a lot of shadow work.
Yeah, yeah. And I was the oldest too, so I can totally understand that, the resentment, like, and resentment, that's where I was trying to get into before my mind started. I got ADHD, my mind started drifting off. Shadows hide in the light, because a lot of time resentment is the number one shadow people work with. And whether they realize it or not, they're in resentment. And this could come from, I call it ambulance chasing, but that's not a nice term. That's just how I refer it. Is trying to help or do for others so much because you want that recognition, right, of being the helper. And then that is actually a shadow because it builds resentment. Never do what you cannot do gracefully and without any resentment. If not, then don't do anything at all. And it does, like, oldest siblings get it a lot, because yeah, we were the ones who watched our brothers and sisters when they got in trouble. It was usually us who was the one who got in trouble. They got away with things. We were the first, so the parents didn't really have a handbook yet. I like to say the firstborn child is the handbook, and there's a lot of mistakes in the process of writing that handbook. So you can't really blame your parents or your family, even though that is another shadow. Blaming anything. And this could come down to even mundane things. Like, remember that old song by Milli Vanilli, Blame It on the Rain, right? People want to blame anything to get out of acceptance. And when you're talking about making the hamburger meat, one of my favorite shadow work practices used to be working on my car or digging or creating something that was really hard, right? Really challenging. Because as you're working through challenges and you're getting frustrated, those shadow triggers come up. You may not know you're mad about something from 13 years ago, and then you're turning a wrench and you hit your hand on an engine block, and then all of a sudden here it comes, and you're like, ah! Mental
Isn't that
note. Yeah.
to hear you say that? It's so amazing because that is when I'm standing there cooking, and I really my daily moment for moment practice is being in the now, and how that creeped up. It was like, what the hell? That is not who I am. And yet it was me blocking something that was there in the light. Thank you, John. Wow.
Of course. Well, one thing like what you just said, how that's not who we are. When we start integrating the shadow, it's to come to the acceptance of, yes, I can be a villain. I can. And sometimes, yes, I am entitled to be a villain. It is my right. And when we can honestly admit that and stop the, oh, I'm not the, I went through this. The only reason I even bring these things up is because I've went through it and I'm talking about myself. I'm not trying to humiliate anybody. This is me. I went through the whole, oh no, I'm the perfect little saint and I don't do anything wrong. And that was all one big, giant, fat lie. It was a shadow because I didn't want to be seen for negative traits.
Beautiful.
Well, the whole time I'm doing that, I'm running around pointing the finger at everybody for all their negative traits, right? And every time I would point that finger, don't you know, I was pointing at something that was me. I literally embodied whatever I was trying to blame or accuse or say, look at your shadow, right? So I came to the terms with, you know what? Fuck it. As long as I'm alive, I'm going to have a shadow. As long as we're alive and we're dealing with other people, we also have the right. I get attacked, people attack. It's not as much as they used to, but so if it's the number one process is learning to accept yourself and be okay with that shadow. Yeah, I can be a bastard. Yes, I've lied and manipulated in the past. Yes, I've done whatever I wanted to get this or that. Once you own that, this gentle ease comes over your body. You stop looking at those parts of your life completely. You know they're there, but you're not trying to hide them. So, one thing in the psychic world I always told people was the things that you hide are the things that are going to speak to me energetically and psychically the most. I won't mention them because it's rude, but those are the number one things that stand out. So the more we suppress these inner problems like shame, guilt, fear, resentment, hatred towards others, the more we hide that and pretend it doesn't exist in us, the louder it gets for intuitives and psychics and people who can pick up on energy.
I think, and I guess I didn't know because I was having a great time. I mean, I'm still having a great time in this suit with the mind of a child. I like the wonderment. This planet has so much abundance of good and more good if you just, like I've said, go on the other side of the room and sit in a different chair and change your aperture. Go outside, look at, just give yourself an opportunity to see it. So I didn't recognize that I had shadows. I
Yeah.
really didn't, John. I don't believe I was wearing a mask. I was just being the best Jamie who I thought this is who,
Yeah.
who me, um, to the degree that yeah, I like rose colored glasses. I was born like Pollyanna, but these little things come up. I didn't know that they were there. I didn't know that they existed. So they were hiding.
Yeah.
So now that we are doing the frequency with the sound and meditation and the drumming, a lot of this might be loosening up in my cell memory that I might have just buried to a certain degree. But that's why I'm saying I really believe that I didn't know that they were even there. So I'm telling myself that there's a lot of your viewers that might not even know that they're there.
Well, exactly. Like one thing to take note of, if you ever notice, let's just say we're in a positive atmosphere, right? We're in a positive atmosphere. There's happiness, there's communication, there's children playing in the background. Who are the people who aren't partaking in that happiness? There are people looking at that happiness with the negative view because they're suppressing their shadows. Like I said, once we come into union with our shadows, we are, or like there are, of course, rose tinted glasses, right? If we had to live seeing, especially as psychics and intuitives, seeing everyone's shadows and not putting rose colored lenses on, we'd never want to leave the house. People have to live a good life. It's just a part of life. People are always going to have a shadow. But the ones who haven't integrated, haven't accepted, yes, I could be the bad guy. I'm the villain in somebody's story, and that's okay. They're the ones that are always so against positivity. And it's just ways, it's not like it's a judgment towards anyone, but it's an understanding of like, okay, I see this person needs healing. Maybe we can navigate life a different way. Like, can we drop subtle hints? Can we show them practices we do? Or, like, my favorite thing is refer to an instance in my life where I thought the same way and how I changed it within my own self, you know?
Yeah. Well, all I know is it is the buzzword right now. It has been for several years, the shadow work. There's retreats, there's books, um, a plethora amount of books.
Oh, yeah,
But
it's a good moneymaker.
but right now, I'll give myself just a little bit of time to when it arises. I will I will look at it and say, "Oh, where is this coming from?" I will have the conversation. I will journal it and just expand on it. But I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to be dialed into that frequency. I There's a
No.
new frequency out there. Just saying it. There, I guess you would know this because you're the astrologer. There's Chiron, the
Chiron.
little Chiron, the little planet Chiron, and that really resonated with me. And then they're saying that because of the Atlas, Three Eye, and all of these are all merging, all of a sudden there's a lot of people around the planet that are thinking that it's bringing new ignited energy that we remember we have. Do you know what I mean? And the only reason I say this is because shadow work is good, but I think going forward, there's going to be a lot more conversation about the galactic idea, the
Yeah.
galactic. There's something we can't see, like you psychics see it, but it's something in the invisible. And we are tapping in and finding out that we not only have shadows, but we have amazing mastery of healing and remote healing. And we're able to tap in with our thoughts. I'm telling you, John, when they said that 2026 up until 2033 is going to be mind blowing, especially for a lot of people like myself who are a little older. It's like, wait, what? I get to live to witness this unfoldment of this new earth. Wow.
Right. Well, that's kind of why I was wondering about this topic. Yeah, because It is a big moneymaker right now. It is. I've seen people get pulled into downward spirals because it's been 10, 15 years and they're still talking about their shadow and they're, like in these healing sand traps, right? Whereas like you're a very positive person and you are a healer. You give people healing energy, so it is working with your shadow. And when it does come up, I've never seen you deny your shadow, so you're integrating it, you're working through it. And that's probably the healthiest way to handle it, rather than, okay, I'm going to dedicate next, I don't know, 6 months to shadow work. And that's how you can find yourself in depression.
Ooh,
um
ouch. No
Sorry,
thanks.
sorry everyone in the chat. We're gonna go over chat here in a little bit. And I see there was like some spam in there. Um, we're gonna go. I turned it off of my device because it's hard for me with ADHD to talk about our topic and see the comments going. Even on my laptop to the side, as soon as one pops up, I'm still like, "Bibbidi." So, things like that. Like, I didn't realize that I had ADHD. I mean, I had been diagnosed before, but I didn't believe him. I wasn't honest with my therapist back in the past, which was a big shadow of mine. So, they were just, I didn't believe any diagnosis they gave me. But I took a test the other day and the results came out and it's healthy. So that was a shadow that I was unaware of, like not realizing where my levels of ADHD were. And it helped me understand why I have a hard time in crowds, why I have a hard time doing a video with the chat going. Like, these things help me understand why some of my biggest shadows, like, let's just say, for instance, a lot of people in our community, they see me, I'm always smiling, I'm always communicating, right? I'm always talking with them. But if the group is large and there's more than one conversation going on, I am not there. I'm on autopilot and I'm smiling and yesing to death because I can't handle all of the interactions at once. So learning about that is helping me heal that inside. So it's like I said, it's good when it comes up or when you find out, but not to sit there and put a tent up and dwell in it, buy books on it, take study classes on it, go on another ayahuasca retreat because you can't own the fact that you're bisexual or something. Like, that's another big one. People hide their sexuality, right? So here, let's before I go on a tangent, try working with the planet Lilith. Okay, it's in your birth chart. To work with the planet Lilith, what you would do is have your birth chart read, or if you read it. Find where Lilith is placed in your birth chart, what aspects, meaning what is opposite Lilith, what is trine Lilith, what is squared Lilith, and learn about yourself, because Lilith is the planet of integrating the shadow, because it's actually going to be your power.
Oh my God, I'm laughing so hard right now because I don't have my chart memorized, but I'm like, you keep saying that word Lilith, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of Lilith I got in my chart.
I have your chart here. I do. I'll pull it. I haven't pulled it out yet. I don't know why, but yeah, I do.
That so what I just think I just heard is we can work with parts of our shadow to learn perhaps that shadow could be a strength. Is that
Yeah,
what I just okay, okay,
that's
yeah.
what Lilith is. She's empowerment through your shadow. And I mean, even if you listen to like the Torah, not the Talmuds, okay? The Talmuds are what the Hebrews wrote after Christianity had taken place. The Torah talks about Samael and Lilith, Lilith and Adam, right? These are the first writings of what we call the Bible now, right? So when you read about Lilith, even her story kind of tells you about um, being oppressed and how that oppression was turned you into like a ferocious magical being that empowered you. So it's all metaphorically for astrology. Where Lilith is when you're born is going to be your biggest strength. You can just cut through all of the shadow work process and go right to your Lilith. Whatever you're hiding, right? Whatever you're embarrassed of. Let's just say for example, because have you ever noticed when somebody who is gay, trans, lesbian, or bisexual, when they come out of the closet, have you noticed the courage and their authentic self, right? Because they were suppressing it, and then once they released it and owned it, it became their power, right?
Mhm.
So that's what Lilith represents. So it's always a term of those who are living in the shadow. Own it, integrate it. You're a villain. Maybe you're meant to be the villain. Maybe you're a villain for a good cause. Let's say this. I'm not a religious person, but let's say this. Jesus Christ was the villain to the Hebrews. He was the villain, but if he did not stand up as the villain, his message would have never got out, right? So sometimes the villain is the hero. And I'm not a religious person, so please, religious folks, don't jump my shit about this. He was the villain.
There again, it's all in the perspective of where they were at the moment to um, witness or observe. But yeah, thank you so much for that, because I kind of like that idea of turning a shadow into my strength,
Yeah,
because um, my word I've been working. It used to when I was becoming a licensed practitioner, mine was ask. That was a big nemesis for me. That was a shadow for me. Why would I ask?
yeah,
But now, lately, the last 3 years or so, it's been confidence. It's been so. Where did the confidence? At what point did I allow my strength and my power to get a given to someone else, or b I gave it to someone else? So I think there's an underlining shadow. So I'm going to be kind of curious to see where the Lilith is in my chart, because I'm life is happening so fast, and
yeah,
I want to get. I mean, I want to go from A to B and not spend 5 years on it. I want to do it. Let's just move next, because I've got rock and roll living to do. So
exactly. The
I
biggest thing. Oh, sorry.
Can we
Go ahead.
reach out to you? Can any of us reach out? I mean, can your viewers reach out? Are you open to explain that? Or is there somewhere where we get the planets tell us? Like I know, I think I have Lilith in Jupiter and Saturn. So I don't know. Is there somewhere we can use a chart, or would you be willing to write something up maybe for the next 6 months?
Yeah, I can actually do. I'm learning how to screen record videos, and I just downloaded OBS on a new laptop provided by the Natural Closet. So I'm gonna learn how to do a live stream while having the astrology chart up on the screen. So that's coming. That's in the play. But if you do have any questions, I can offer services. I'm just a very busy person, so I know there was some people who hit me up in my website, and it took me a while to get to them. A lot goes on in my real life. A lot goes on. So but yeah, hit up my www.shamangraywolf.com. Right, Cheryl? Can you put that in the chat, Cheryl? Um,
Thank you. Yeah, because I know I if I'm feeling this and we're all connected, that there's got to be other people on your channel that might be feeling it too. And even if it means just like text on a voice message, that's my new, oh my God, why would I even bother with my little fat fingers? No way. Maybe you could just say, okay, so and so, your Lilith is here. Maybe you might want to look at some things to strengthen and get take back. These are in your shadow. I don't know, but I know this is 2026. We're entering the year of technology. John, I'm telling you, if we just push the button, like, I'm really glad to hear that you can record your stuff. I'm just like, yes, I can't wait to even write letters and say, oh, so and so, take a dictation, blah, 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 and then it just spits it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny you mentioned that talk to text. One of my shadows used to be talking on the phone. I didn't like to talk on the phone in front of people. I was embarrassed, or like, like nobody needs to listen to me talk on the phone. It's something that I had to get over too. Probably because when we were a kid, when I was young, I used to spend forever on the phone, and it was only natural for the parents to be like, yo, get off the phone. So I used to sneak on the phone a lot. So that's probably where that shadow came from.
Funny you should bring that up because I call it phone pollution. I get so triggered, so I don't know where that shadow comes from. If I'm in a grocery store and someone's got their speaker and they're talking, I'm in my zen in the grocery store. I don't want to hear your conversation because you want to be the lion, Leo. I want my space. Shh. So I give looks. I'm good at it. And I'm just like glaring, like, uh, you could almost read that I'm saying, hello, that is airway pollution. Shut the phone off. You can discipline and to go sit in your car or walk outside. But yeah, I really get triggered when people are on their phone in the grocery store for some reason.
Speaking of that, it's kind of I admire these people because it's something that I just couldn't see myself doing. Walking around live streaming like downtown, and talking. Number one, I couldn't do that because all the voices in the background, right? I got enough voices going on in my mind. But the roar of the crowd would be dumbing me out. Then the chat would be going off. Then I would be trying to communicate. So I see people walking around with their selfie sticks and live streaming, and I used to make fun of them, but now I look at them and I kind of commend their bravery. I'm like, man, that takes a lot of gumption to do that. Good job, good job. Those are other ways, like integrating the shadow is learning to, if something pisses you off or triggers you, wish good on it, wish more of it. Like that. I used to make fun of people, right, for doing the selfie sticks. Now I actually, knowing, because I've had a channel for quite a few years, I have a lot of streamer friends, so I've learned like the bravery, what they have to go through to be on camera, live in front of people and in town. So turning that shadow into a light was just me recognizing what they had to go through. But yeah, people who talk on, it depends on who they're talking on the phone. Like, you get a really arrogant guy and he's really not talking on the phone for the conversation on the phone. I've seen people who talk to like the crowd of people outside through their phone in like a
Yeah.
subtle way.
Question. I know it's kind of early to open the chat, but is there any way we can open up the chat to see what your what, because we've shared our ideas of shadow work, what has worked for us. Is there any of the chats that somebody has suggested something that has worked for them? I don't have my chat open, so I can't see. But is there anyone that can either just raise their hand or something? Maybe Cheryl can point out the ones, because we're entering a new time. All of your viewers know it. You can feel it. If you allow yourself to breathe it, there's something happening in our bodies. It just is a fact.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm thinking that once we're not going to need these shadows. We're not going to need this heaviness. We're not going to need this anger, resentment, yuckiness
Yeah.
into this new earth. We're not.
Right.
So perhaps maybe one of your viewers has a practice that they can share with all of us that maybe we can integrate into our transition and transformation of the old human that we are in transform, like the cocoon from the caterpillar into this beautiful butterfly and into the new earth. Because the new earth, if we're wanting peace, we are to be it. If we're wanting harmony, we are to open our arms and say yes to it. So I'm something just came to me, and it's my right ear, so that's for everyone. That we are to just, okay, let's just go work through this real quick together. Let's get whatever shadows, ever these resentments, anger, learn to dance with them, but we just are not needing them. So the sooner they can maybe give us a couple more practices to share, so that we can keep moving forward.
Yeah, I'm going through the comments now. I turned them on here, so comments are open. But it's funny. I was going to mention this before. Um, all the religions, right? So an alchemist knows that the moment that you meet Satan, you have met yourself, right? Alchemists know that, and the religions kind of thrived on people having those shadows because it meant
Mhm.
that we needed them, right? Where an alchemist was like, wait a minute, I know that preacher, and after every sermon, he is out with so and so drinking the wine and passing out in the stalls with this girl, and his wife's at home. So like alchemists studied the inner self to find illuminate your shadow. That's what Goetia and Notoria work is. Goetias aren't demons; they're mental constructs. You know.
Well, that's interesting because my book, I'm reading this series from Sarah Landon, and we just finished a chapter and says that all of us are alchemists. Every
Yes.
single one of us. I've never was told that, John. So
Hmm.
I thought, oh, so what does that look like? And she goes into describing, because I thought it was, oh, well, I don't have the power to turn lead into gold, but
Mm.
I have the power to do other things. So I kind of broadened my thought pattern there. But
Yeah.
interesting that you're saying that we're alchemists, and this book said we're alchemists. So maybe the idea of once we practice this shadow work, learning to dance with our shadow, whatever it is, that is the alchemist that we become, so that all that all that triggers or energy or shadow is something that supports you. Because I
Yeah.
can't see my shadow unless I turn my back to the light and see it. I mean, it's so interesting. But
Yeah.
yet, when you're still looking at the light, you don't see your shadow. So there's kind of it's kind of an oxymoron, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's two-sided for me. I know it's there. I know others can see it when my eyes are faced to the light.
Right.
Um, but I can't. So that's kind of a trip too. That would be a hell of a retreat. Yeah. So tell me what my shadow is doing right now.
Well,
Yeah.
that's funny you mentioned that. It's that kind of acceptance is what I'm talking about. When we're looking at the light, right? Of course, others can see our shadow. And the only reason we work with it to accept it is to be like, so fucking what? I'm looking at the light. You can look at my shadow all you want, and I'm good with it. Like that's where the acceptance comes in. So that's the total end all of shadow work is being well enough to where if somebody were to, let's say, pull a secret of yours out in front of a group of people, you learn to say, and
Yeah.
haven't you?
Do they have any suggestions in the chat?
So far, there's been no new chats. There's a lot of comments. Hey, brother, Brandon, it's good to see you. It's because nobody genuinely speaks their truth. It is true. Like, not a lot of people speak their truth. They'll go to parties, then before they went to the party, they were bad mouthing. That's true. There is a lot of that in our society. And you know, that's what I mean by we have to keep the rose colored lenses on to live, because if you can see it, then you can see it, you know. But if we dwell on it, like, oh my God, everywhere I go, people are talking bad about each other. Well, fuck, what kind of life does that leave you, you know?
Yeah.
You're gonna be stuck in a living room with nobody to talk to, nobody to be around, no back and forth communication, no growth, no evolution, no happiness, no laughter. You know, so you gotta just kind of understand that, yeah, you know, there is this ugliness in the world, but there's also this beauty. And the only way you really get to that is by understanding that for all the things you feel are negative about you, so what?
I think it's funny that I don't see it as a negative. I'm just like, what the hell? Where did that pop up?
Right?
That's the only way I can explain it. It's really it's a trip when it comes up. Literally ask myself, where in the hell did you come from? Or and then ask myself, and why would you even have that kind of thought right now? That is not part of your mission, my purpose on planet. Hello, Jamie. So I think it's a trip, you know, the shadow. So we've already found out journaling. We found out Lilith is a huge one. I didn't know to empower. I would love my shadows to be able to see them, identify them, accept them, and then integrate them by alchemizing them into something beautiful, strength,
Yeah.
confidence, assurance, groundedness. I really like that, John. It, and the other, I guess, I guess, I don't know how else to look at the shadow because I'm not going searching for it. I just think it's a trip that it pops up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like you're doing it. Like you said, you are the alchemist. You're a sound alchemist. You're a communication alchemist. You're an intuitive alchemist. You're an empathic and psychic alchemist. And you also are still looking at new ways. So that's an alchemist through and through, always evolving, perpetual, always the student, because the master, that means that we can't learn anymore. We can't progress anymore. How boring is that, right? So yeah, there's and looking at the shadow, like I said, we're just trying to find acceptance in our lives because there is a lot. If we live in our shadow with all that yuckiness, right? Then of course every time the news sways us this direction, we're just gonna flow like the fish. We are, you know, like follow. But we don't want to follow that.
The frequency. It's a frequency, and that tells you right there when we are depressed or we're down. If you measure it, it's a slower vibration. Imagine in the mud, you know, or quicksand, like you said. I love that when you said that, John. It's moves slowly. Well, you don't think outside the news, they know what grabs on to that frequency. It's all science. This is a quantum universe, and everything has a pattern. They've just identified it and thought they can dumb down us to the degree that we are not going to bust out of the quicksand. There is too much other. Too much other knowledge that is being given to us because there are a lot of light workers that are hearing it. They're tapping in. Abraham Hicks, she's the one, she said this, I don't know how many years ago. Once you, what is it? You tune in, so there you are. You tap in, meaning you got your mind going to that rhythm. Tune in, tap in, and turn on, because you can turn yourself on by turning off the news,
Yep.
pulling up the quicksand. And if you can't, that's what friends are for, man.
Yeah.
You put your hand down and help that person come up. You're not going to go under the quicksand and push them up. Hell no. You're going to be at the strong grounded edge and pull them up slowly, gentle.
Yeah.
Because if I'm telling myself, a lot of us have been in that quicksand quicksand at some point, not for just a even millisecond or years, but somebody lending a hand. That for myself, I'm telling myself, is a way that we can also do our own shadow work by helping others come up out of it.
That's great you brought that up because I had forgot about that too. One big way to work on your shadows is to, like we said, usually when we're angry at something, that's our inner fear or resentment, right? So it's something we're going through. If we take that same shadow that we're holding and try to help others in those areas, like let's say you got ADHD, start working with other ADHD people to not to change them, but to allow them to accept. That is another big shadow working process. Helping others helps us.
Mm,
Just like when I first started doing YouTube, I was learning things and sharing what I learned, right? So, why was I doing that? Because it was inspiring me to continue to learn. I was
mm,
in a very low place in my life and I didn't want to stay there. I wanted to come back to the proud, happy person I am. So I started diving into sciences and studies. And yeah, I made a lot of mistakes and misunderstood things, but I shared what I was studying because it was like inspiration for myself. I was being my own best friend at the time. So anything like that, you help others, it helps you. And it's just a mutual reciprocity.
nice. So, are you going to pull any cards today?
Yeah. You know what? Let's see.
You're going to ask the universe on this beautiful, beautiful day.
I'll pull, let's do this. I'm going to pull one card from the Gossip Oracle that will represent the physical reality. That's what I like about these gossip cards. It
You can just
represents
find those cards.
it represents the human realm to me. I'm like, okay, this will be the vicinity. Then
Thank
I've got angel signs and cosmic. So we'll pull three cards just to get an idea. So spirit, what do we
thank you.
got? What do we got for the physical reality here? Soul contracts. So in your physical realm right now, you may not realize it, but you have been aligning soul contracts. This represents your financial path, your love path, your love interest, your friends and community. So everything that's going on in your, I know people, I'm glad this came up. We have friends that are losing their jobs. We have businesses that are shutting down. We have people that are separating after long relationships. We have a lot going on, but these are soul contracts. And I'm glad this come out. Everything you're doing right now was written in the angel realm where you came from. You came from the divine, that spark of creation. So don't feel bad about what's going on in your life right now. Understand that it is meant to be. Oh, cosmic is last. Now let's pull from your angels. What do your angels have to say about these soul contracts? Truth. So they want to let you know that whatever I just said was true, but there's also a message of truth from your angels. The message is you are not here to conform, but to carry a unique frequency. When you silence your truth to keep others comfortable, you dim the light that was meant to liberate. Lilith. Speak what is real and true, and do not submit to another's illusions. Wow. Isn't that
Make this stuff up. Viewers, John's viewers, I'm telling you, tell a friend, tap into this guy's channel because whatever's happening is happening, and you cannot make this stuff up. It's just that amazing, beautiful, awe-inspiring. and magic, whatever
Right.
you want to call it. Wow, John, did it really say Lilith on there?
Yeah, well, no, it didn't say Lilith, but everything about this truth card just
Yeah.
spoke to me in Lilith. So, a little bit about Lilith. In Jewish folklore, she was considered evil. Okay, and I'm going to tell you a joke about this. This isn't truth, but the story is that she wanted to be more dominant than Adam. So in my silly sense of humor, I thought, well, she must have used her tail to enter Adam in the wrong area, and that's what drove this whole calamity, because all it was she was just as empowered as the masculine. So the Jewish folklore said that they wanted a subservient partner for Adam. So they cast Lilith to the side and banned her to a cave and gave him Eve. So that right there kind of lets you know what religion is. They don't want you to feel empowered, they want you to be in that cave, right? And they want the ones who are going to
Mhm.
submit. So now let's get from the, so that's what truth meant to me. It's like, don't let these people or anything or circumstance put you in a cave, right? And if they do put you in a cave, try to flirt with the guards so that you could catch him with his pants down and get out. And now let's see what the universe has to say. Universe, what can you add to this? Whoa, whoa. No, just one card. Okay. Take control. I already like the sound of that. In a relationship or situation, your passive stance has caused you to miss opportunities that should have been yours. Now is the moment to take charge, step forward, and claim what is rightfully yours. So, what I'm seeing here with these three cards is there's a lot of big activity moving in your lives today. And this has to be done. And you have to own this truth about yourself. Speak your true mind. What have you been hiding? What are you suppressing? Is it a talent? Is it a gift? Are you afraid to sing in public because you're ashamed of being booed off stage? Do it anyways. Who cares if they boo, right? Because you're about to take control of your life as soon as you face whatever it is you are hiding.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And right when you say that, I'm noticing that I'm different today than I even was last week. So this is interesting. Those cards came up because it's so true. And like I tell you, when this emergence happens, sometimes I'm like, wait, am I going to am I going to get a reaction? Am I going to get a no? You're not. Um, yeah, and I don't. So I'm doing a little bit more, and it is standing in the confidence. It is. I don't need someone suggested, well, why don't you ask this person their idea and ask them and this and that? I said, no, that's not my human design. I know what I know, what I know, and that's in my gut. And I'm going to listen to that. I'm telling you, John, there's big changes, good, amazing, expanded changes at Stargate Sound Medicine. That's all I'm going to tell you right now, because
Awesome.
I'm saying no. I don't need to go to these other places. That it's almost like that. I love that story that my husband tells me. Bob says, "Why would I go for marriage counseling to a priest who's never even been married, for crying out loud?"
Right.
Wait, because you're book smart, or you've been around a lot of married people? No. So that's why I'm tickled, because I I was just like, wow, that's really been happening. I've been nice about it. I've just been I guess masculine, the Lilith is coming out of me, that I'm saying no. This is what I am doing, and I don't need anyone's permission.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. Wow.
And that's how it goes too. What have you overcome? Like an addiction. If you've overcome addiction, go towards addiction counseling. If you've overcome fear, teach people how to stand up. If you're Going through mental disorders, hey, work with others to help both of you. You know, it is if you've had past people that you've lost in your life that made a serious impact on you, grieving counsel, because guess what? Who knows best? The
Yeah.
person who's experienced it. And exactly, you can't go to no 21-year-old to learn life lessons, right? Because they're always going to tell you that some kid idea, you know?
There are stages. We do have stages in our life. And right now, all of the generation until you're 30, 35, it's the data. They're receiving the data. Remember, they're just absorbing the data, kind of, and then they can take the data and then go on to a different part. I think it's 30 to 50, where they can start integrating the data. So that's right. That's why we wouldn't go. And it's nothing against the 20-year-olds. You're just in um, a different frequency of receiving the data and
Yeah.
integrating. And yes, wow, I guess I answered my own question just now, is that as we get older, all of a sudden, all of that turns into the wisdom and living it and embracing it, what self has chosen. So,
Yeah.
because you know that saying, I know a lot of us in several of my groups have said, God, if I had known that when I was 20. Well, you know what? Now that I'm in this part of my life, it wasn't required then. It
No.
wasn't, it's to, for me to know because I'm on as if the third uh, level, fourth, whatever, the third station of my life right
Yeah.
now. So,
I mean,
yeah,
I mainly make the comment about the 20-year-olds because I view myself and like if I were to listen right now to my old 21-year-old self, oh no, no, all of the advice I would have gave myself would have been terrible. Oh, what? They said this to you? Knock them out. What? You have financial problems? Go rob a bank. You know, something. I would have just been a horrible little shit to listen to,
I'm from the chandeliers. I don't ask me for advice. I'm having too much of a good time here in this world. That
right?
was me.
Man, I had, oh gosh, yeah, and partying and drugs. Oh my God. I remember giving advice to people back then. What? Your wife won't let you go out? Ah, go out anyways, man. Yeah. Yeah, no. But yeah, we are in a different time. There wasn't so much awareness. You know,
Yeah.
like one thing, I'm really happy to come back into my mental health routine with therapy because even just through our social medias, I'm learning more and more awareness about things like ADD, ADHD, autism, schizophrenia, panic disorder, social anxiety, because people are being open. Here's a perfect example of what we've been talking about today. People are taking their disability and sharing it with others, not for attention, not to get likes, so that you know what they go through. And a lot of them, this is the message I pick up from them. A lot of them are sending the message, no, I'm not trying to be combative. My mind works in a different way than yours, and I'm tired of the friction. Because let's just say, for instance, I had an entire different understanding of what ADHD was 10 years ago. I didn't think of how but what the symptoms are today. I thought it was, I had pretty negative views about it. Now, today, with all the awareness of our technological age, we can come to a balance where we can finally start to see each other. We're seeing each other at the core, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been any new comments. Let's see what we got here. Gamer TV, what's the real meaning of Om? Well, it's the universe. Well, not universal. It's the earth sound syllable that brings you back to center. Earth vibrates at om. So whenever you tap into that,
So that is the sound of God. It is the sound of. So I like that you said that that was the earth, um, but because I think if they've recorded it, it does. That is that sound, and if my understanding is God is as and through everything. I
yeah,
mean, even us, a fractal, and whether it's the label God, universe, whatever, but that is, I'm thinking, is is the allness. It's the it's the allness of all. And when we when and you can, it vibrates in the mouth, it moves the heart, it moves the brain. All of a sudden, it's just a trip. We can give ourselves our own sound medicine just by just by yeah. Oh, thank you for that question. That's a great question.
yeah, absolutely. That was Gamer TV 100.
What is it to him?
Yeah, Gamer TV. If you're still on, what is Om to you? We'd like to know. Let's see if we got some more. Is it really called psychic or is it judgment? Good question. Good question.
Mm,
Okay, so I'm learning about this in psychology from a therapist. There is mind reading that is inaccurate. He's talking about when we have communication errors, when we're looking at somebody and falsely claiming we know what they're processing, like
mhm.
ADHD awareness. He says these are the moments to communicate. Can you elaborate on this? Wait, I didn't understand that. He said to open a dialogue. Don't try to read their mind. That would be judgment. Psychic energy is me laying in my bed and all of a sudden I hear somebody's voice talk to me and then they call. Psychic energy is when I'm meditating and I astral travel, not on purpose, but and I see somebody doing something at a time, and then they were doing that at that time. So psychic energy is different than the judgment. A lot of psychics are just kind of cold reading people. So this is an old gypsy trick too. Cold reading people, you can read their twitches in their eyes, their facial expression, the color of their skin when they're talking, how they hold their hands, their body posture, their stance, and which direction they're facing, even down to how are their feet planted. If they've got one foot leaning towards this way, they are trying to escape your conversation. So when you know all of this cold reading facts about people, it's very easy to appear psychic. But that's what I have on psychic or judgment.
The psychicness, because I know we're coming to a close here. The psychicness too, when you say that you think of somebody and the phone rings, I'm understanding that it's called conscious connection. It's where our consciousness, and that's what so many people are learning, that this part of our beautiful universe, our brain, is able to connect with others. And there again is that frequency. If I can have a phone that somehow the invisible and technology works, that I could talk to somebody in Greece. It just, that's where we are coming. That's where I keep telling you, it's the new earth. Embrace it.
Yeah,
Hold your apron wide open, Ofo, because I'm telling you, you want all the fruit that this universe is giving us, man. So when you're tapping in with, and working with others. And now it's working. They're saying there's a lot of astrologers that are saying that archangels are coming in. Raphael, Michaelo has been here for a long time, but Raphael is saying that somehow our DNA is changing. They've been talking about this for the longest time, John.
Yeah.
And now our body is able to connect. You hear about remote healing. You hear about a remote telepathy. You hear about us, these frequencies, this universe made of whatever number you think it is of water, which is a conduit. It is able to connect, tap into the invisible, tap into our friends, tap into Mother Earth, tap into the archangels, the mystics, the seers, the ascended masters. They're no different than us. They're
No.
just in a different form, but they're still energy. So when we are able to almost like take our electrical cord and tap into the extension cord of the allness,
Yeah.
man, I'm telling you, this is the apron is so big, and I'm gonna probably have to start helping my neighbor hold his apron open too, because that's how much good is ready to pour in and fall off the trees if we're ready to catch it.
Absolutely. And things that one way, if you're ever wondering, are you psychic or not? Here's a practice I used to do. I read tarot cards. That's a form of channeling. There's other forms I do, but that's my favorite. I also follow some tarot readers. I like to do a tarot reading. And back then, when I was questioning whether or not I was tapping into the right frequency, I would do a reading and then I would go listen to other readers that I've been listening to for years. And it's the same exact story, which means, yes, we were tapped into the same invisible realm, pulling the same messages in different parts of the world, not even knowing. And the tarot readers that I do this with, we're all the same. We do not sit on Facebook because we don't want to be in the cycle. We don't want to be in the cycle where everyone in the world says grand rising and everyone in the world is following the same pattern. We're out of that pattern and we're trying to see, where are we tapping in from? We want to tap into the higher realms, because that online presence can sometimes muffle your true psychic connection, what you're really hearing.
I want to remind your viewers that we, you, it's about 2 feet above us is our higher self.
Yeah.
So sometimes when we ask higher self a lot of answers to that extension that we can't see, the invisible, when we have that higher self, it's within us, within. That's why there's a song that Bob uh, asked me to marry him by. All the answers lie within. It's by Dream Theater. And if you stop and think about it, all the answers aren't outside. Oh, yes, it feels good to be in a group and sit in the silence and feel the love and feel the energy of that sacred space. But when we tap in and ask ourselves that question, what is mine to do? Help me work through these shadows, because there's a rumor that we're entering the new earth. I don't know, Carol, what kind of conversation you have with your higher self. Just have one, man. And
Right.
then all of a sudden, if you're in this quietness, you'll hear, all of a sudden, you'll think it's your mind, but really those are answers coming that were always there. Now, it might not come clearly. It might like, wait, what? That's just absurd. I'm not going to do that. But if it's a pure love, oh yeah, do it.
Well, it's funny. Like, okay, we're talking about how to find out if your psychic abilities are in tune, and I didn't. The chat hasn't been coming up on my phone, even though I turned it back on, but it's on my laptop. And Nathan Sipley was asking, how do we destigmatize and get all of our abilities in control again? Should they be, if that's a better question? So, like we were talking about, we do little tests. A lot of it boils down to meditation, getting the fluff out of. But see, it was a synchronicity of psychic communication. I didn't see his question, but we were talking about it. So right there, it lets you know that you are in psychic connection with us. We are actually in a collective union. So little things like that, take note of. For a while, I carried a small pocket journal with me, and I would write down everything. And at this time, when I was doing so, my tinfoil hat mentality was leaving my phone at home because I thought they could read my thoughts. But I would just jot down whatever. If you carry your phone, then text message it to yourself or memo pad. Clear your mind and try to limit the input from society, like, the ramble. And this way you can fine tune yourself. If you have a feeling, I don't understand this feeling, I'm going to write it down. This is what I'm experiencing at this moment. And then give it a little bit of time. The universe will let you know that your psychic abilities are enhancing. So those are some ways to fine tune it.
Yep.
Hopefully that answered your question. And yo, you know what I noticed when I watch your videos before you end it, I'm already cut off. Oh, I'm sorry. There is a delay on our speech to the actual live stream. It's like a 2-second delay.
Oh,
Nathan,
wow.
Nathan
Hey,
said, sending nothing but unconditional love, healing, and abundance. Thank you. And the same to you, my friend. That's what I love about our collective. We do want the best for everyone in our circles because as we all rise, we all learn new things. As we learn new things, we're able to see each other in a better light. Hey, Mama. Hey. Dad says he's live too. I love you too, Mama. All right, guys. Well, we're going to cut it there. Thank you so much for your time today. And if you have any questions, hit me up on any one of my videos. Leave a comment. I do get back to all my comments. And if that's an easier, quicker way to get in touch with me, I'd recommend that. But for now, thank you guys for your time, and we will see you again next week.
okay. Or maybe Saturday. We have a Stargate Sound Medicine here. And Katie and I have 4 more mats left. And it's only $25. Come on.
Two of those, I want to get one for my mom and for her friend Zofia. So, Mom,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So save 2 of those for me. I'll zell you.
Yeah. They've got some good energy and then we've got a big surprise that is unfolding. So
Awesome. I always love your sound baths. They're amazing. They really do feel good. All right, guys. And check out her sound bath or Stargate Sound Medicine, both online and on Facebook. Her online is Stargate Medicine, right? Or Sound Medicine.
Stargate. Everything's Stargate.
Okay, Stargate Medicine online, and then on Facebook it's Stargate Sound Medicine. And check out Anura Labs for healthcare
Yeah.
products. And check out the Natural Closet for any holistic supplies you may need, crystals, trinkets, a lot of stuff. Anyways, thank you guys.
More glass straws. Natural Closet. I need more glass straws.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she does have, those are really cool. And they're guaranteed for life. If they ever break, you get a free one.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye, Jamie.
Bye bye.